Welcome to another episode of the Frightfully Good Vodcast. Your hosts Anne Rzechowicz from ozparatech and Renata Daniel from Newcastle Ghost Tours. And hello, we welcome you this evening to more of the ABC of paranormal strangeness. So tonight we are up to the letter I, and we are going to be talking about the Incubus and ITC. So don't go anywhere. We will be back shortly.
I love how you make yours sound exciting and mine sound like shit. Incubus? Incubus? And ITC. Good evening. How are we? I see you got the big googly eyes again. Yes, we are the very sensible paranormal investigators of Newcastle, bringing to you your free ABC of paranormal strangeness. And tonight we are up to the letter I with Incubus and ITC. You did! You play it back and you listen to it. Guess who's got Incubus? It makes it sound really exciting.
Incubus!
Now, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we don't do tarot readings tonight.
No, sir.
Tonight is our information, our teaching, where we teach you about what is paranormal.
Us,
right? And
these are faces you can trust.
Thursday night, will you shut up? Thursday night is our tarot reading. I don't know if I can turn this off now. It seems to have disappeared on me how to turn this off.
No, we can't.
It might be the whole show.
No, we can't do it for the whole show.
So yes, please be aware. This is our information night. Oh, geez, I think it's only going to get worse.
No.
Oh. Oops.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there we are. All right. I think we're back to normal now. All right. Yeah. So, I hope you've all had a fantastic week. Have you had a good week, Renata? It's only Monday. Last week. I hope last week was great. Apparently eyebrows are the big thing. So Renata thought she couldn't see her eyebrows on camera, so she's drawn them in a little bit more, and I've drawn mine on nice and black so everybody can see them. So, yes, what are we doing, Renata?
You were going to read a quote.
Oh, yeah. Now, look, I was reading one of my paranormal books. I found a great quote from Lloyd Auerbach. Now, it's L-O-Y-D. There's only one L. And Auerbach is A-U-E-R-B-A-C-H. And it's from his book, Ghost Hunting, How to Investigate the Paranormal. So he is a qualified parapsychologist. And this book is really great. It's nice and easy to read. All very good common sense things to do. I love the way he investigates, the way he thinks. The very end of the book. And this is why we do what we do. This is why we present the way we do. His conclusions. Laugh a lot. Without a sense of humour, ghost hunters can become susceptible to being obsessed by subjective paranormal experiences. The movie Ghostbusters brought this point home to many ghost hunters. Laughing at the full range of human experience and at ourselves as ghost hunters can help to keep perspective. Psychic experience is part of the normal range of human experience. Enjoy it, learn from the experiences and what they say about life. Inject humour into otherwise fearful experiences. You have nothing to fear from psi phenomena except your own fear. When you get a twinge of apprehension, learn to say, I ain't afraid of no ghosts or poltergeists, or hauntings, or precognitive experiences, or the unknown. So this is why we do what we do, is because so many people are fearful of the paranormal. And I know I harp on about this, but religious bias and Hollywood have a lot to do with this. Hollywood need to sell you a story, so they need to make it really exciting. And religious things, it's based on the Bible, and you've got to remember the Bible was written at a time when people didn't understand how things worked a great deal. Make fire was a big thing. So we've come a long way and we can understand a lot more. And I'm not shitting on people's beliefs or anything like that, but we're trying to bring a bit of fun, a bit of humour, a bit of laughter, which is why we started off with googly eyes. Yeah, anyway, I don't know why I can't get rid of this thing. Go away. There it is.
That's okay. Doesn't matter.
Oh, there we are.
Hello,
Hi, Carrie. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Carrie.
Right.
Okay, so let me just go and press the magic button.
Oh, the magic
here.
button. This is so people who aren't watching can listen.
So welcome to the first part of tonight's podcast and vodcast. And tonight we are talking about, for anyone that has just joined us, ITC and Incubus. Yep. So Anne has some really interesting information about ITC to give you in the second half of the program. But I think I'll be going first.
How will you now?
And get it. Well, you haven't.
I have a possible experiment for us all to do later on. So we're going to let her go first, because you know it's like she does 45 minutes and I end up with 5 minutes at the end.
I won't do 45 minutes. I guarantee you I'll get through the Incubus very, very quickly.
Hey, I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to everyone who watched our show on Thursday night. We reached how many thousand views?
12,000 views!
12,000 views.
12,000 views.
And a reach of 35,000, which means 1 in 3 people clicked on the show and watched. I'm so humbled. Thank you so much. So, we're going to hand over to Renata, who's going to talk all about Incubus. Ooh.
We are not doing free readings tonight, guys.
No free readings.
No free readings. If you're here for a free reading, I'm sorry, come back on Thursday.
But no, stay and listen, because you might learn something about the paranormal, spooky, ghosty world.
And please share to your friends and let them know that we are on, because the more people we get on, the happier you will make us.
Yeah, we don't make any more money. We do this for free.
Oh, damn, it's not recording.
All right, well, start it again.
Welcome to the Frightfully Good Vodcast and Podcast with your hosts Anne Rzechowicz from ozparatech and Renata Daniel from Newcastle Ghost Tours. And our viewers that are here are listening to this for the second time because I failed to press the record button. And tonight we are talking about ITC and the Incubus. So I'm going to give it a crack.
Give it a crack. Let's give the Incubus a crack.
And let's get on
to
the
it doesn't
Incubus.
Suck. There's a bit of a pun there.
So have you all heard about the Incubus and Succubus?
Zach Baggins knows all about it because he called on the wrong one.
Well, allegedly, they can transform into each other.
Oh.
Apparently.
Oh, so Zach did get it right.
So they can. But I'm going to be talking about the Incubus because we are in the ABC of paranormal strangeness and up to strangeness. And we are up to the letter I. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about this phenomena. If you've ever woken up in the middle of the night feeling as though you are being crushed by a demonic being, you may have just experienced what is called an incubus phenomena, an attack.
It's either that or Roman's rolled over in bed on top of me.
Forewarning, this might get a little bit
You're going to get naughty?
X-rated. Just letting you know. If there are little kiddies around, just...
You're going to have to explain to them what it all means.
Shush them out of the room because this may be an inappropriate subject for their little ears. So just, hello, Sean!
Hey, Sean, how you going?
Hey, Sean.
We're talking about Incubus tonight.
You're going to love this one.
All right, come on, crack on.
Okay,
Crack on.
okay. So we are talking about the Incubus phenomena. Stop it! An attack by a male demon. So its female counterpart is usually called a succubus, and it attacks men.
So the incubus is the male one and the succubus is the female one. Now, the way to remember that is I is for...
Stop it. Just no. For those who are listening to the podcast, I'm not going to
I just
tell
put
you
a finger in the air.
anything about what Anne has just done.
Yeah.
All right,
I always get them mixed up, but once you think of that, it's an erectile eye, you can't go wrong.
All right. The phenomena is in many ways the quintessential nightmare, and it is. Have you encountered such an incubus phenomena, an attack, this feeling of your chest being crushed by something that you cannot explain? Give us a big heart if you have, because they do say that about 11% of the population worldwide has had such an experience, and I'll get more. I'll get to more about this later.
Okay, I'll shut up then,
I'll
because I was going to offer an alternate suggestion.
It will take 45 minutes if you interrupt. All right.
I've been told. All right, come on, get your pages happening here.
Look.
She's made a mess.
So what is an incubus? What is an incubus? So an incubus is a demon in male form that seeks to have sexual intercourse with sleeping women. So the corresponding spirit in female is called the succubus. Okay, so we've got that one right.
I wonder if they have gay versions of those.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just a thought.
I don't know. My research didn't reach that far.
Okay.
So in medieval Europe, union with an incubus was supposed to be, by some thought, to result in the birth of witches, demons, and deformed human offspring.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. So
we've got our eyebrows ready.
The legendary magician Merlin was actually said to have been fathered by an incubus.
Ooh.
Parallels exist in many cultures. The word incubus is derived from the Latin incubus, which means nightmare, and incubare, which means to lie upon, way up, or brood.
Oh, now Carrie just wanted to know, could it be pressure on your back? I suppose if they wanted to...
well, it depends on which way
style I wanted to use, I suppose.
Depends on which way you're lying. But this will make sense as we go further.
And Sherry's just said wet dream. Now that's interesting, isn't it?
No.
That would be the female version with the fellas.
No. This is really this feeling of your chest being crushed.
Yeah, but I think she's referring to the possibility that wet dreams may have something to do with
it
visitation.
Yes.
I'm with
if
you.
you talk to the priest, if you talk to a priest in the 1600s, they would say yes, you've been visited by a demon, because we're not supposed to have anything like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, no thoughts like that.
Oh, Carrie said it was a pressure on the back. It was a gay incubus.
Oh, okay. In modern psychological usage, the term has been applied to the type of nightmare that gives one the feeling of a heavy weight or oppression on the chest and stomach. Now, that's from the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh, right, okay.
So...
Which year, which version?
I don't know. So there are variations of the incubus demon, and we've talked about incubus and succubus, but let's have a look about the incubus around the world. So again, we haven't invented all of this all on our little lonesome. These phenomena have certainly been mythologized around the world as part of culture's experience. So we have German folklore, where we have the Alp, who is a vampire-like creature who visits its victims at night, and it wears a cape called a Tarnkappe, which is imbued with magical powers.
Ooh.
In African folklore, and please excuse me if I butcher some of these words, but
I like this word.
I really don't know how to say them properly. The Popabawa
I think that's pretty good. Popabawa
is a shape-shifting evil spirit who stalks victims at night from the shadows. So the night seems to be this thing that is seen throughout with these stories.
Probably a reason for that.
The way to stop a Popabawa from repeatedly attacking you is to tell other people that you have been victimized by it, which is quite interesting.
Oh, so if you dob it in, it stops coming to you.
Yes.
So to speak.
That's interesting. But in Chilean folklore, the Trauco is a small, ugly humanoid creature who attracts and attacks women.
Oh, I've seen some of them down the local pub.
These attacks aren't restricted to nighttime.
Ah.
But the victims often end up pregnant.
Ooh,
right.
That's a good explanation for their husband, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So in Hungarian folklore, the Lidérc is a satanic lover. It can have the body of a human but leaves the footsteps of a horse.
Oh, Loftus Hall. Remember the devil came to visit and they looked under the table and there was the
that's a hooves of a goat.
Yeah, cloven feet.
But that's associated with demons and Pan and all of that sort of stuff. So that's another road trip down the wrong road.
Okay.
In South African folklore, a Tixoloshi
Ticoloche?
or whatever is a small, hairy, supernatural being who is said to rape women and bite off children's toes while they are sleeping.
No.
Wow.
Yes, we're on this month, Sean. Very exciting.
And in Norse folklore, a mare is a demonic being that sits on a sleeping person's chest and causes them to have nightmares. Yeah. So, some creepy facts about the incubus.
Oh, they're facts.
Yep. So,
Absolute
creepy facts.
Facts.
So as you can see, this thing that we're talking about seems to be worldwide and occurs in all different cultures. Or they just...
is that the cultures in your yogurt as well?
So they kind of just talk about it a little bit differently and explain the phenomena a little bit differently, but it certainly happens to every different culture around the world.
I love how she just ignored that.
So because the incubus demon visits its victims at night, the word incubus, again, comes from the Latin word incubo, which literally means a nightmare induced by a demon.
Hello from the UK. How you going, Gavin?
They obviously have a different Latin dictionary, but that's okay. Because an incubus demon can be fixated on a particular victim, some women have died from exhaustion after being visited by the same incubus demon over and over. There's a book in that.
What a way to go.
The incubus demon is mentioned in the earliest work of fiction we still have today, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Go to your local library and get that one out.
Yeah, that's just a light evening's read.
In it, Gilgamesh's father is said to be a demon who attacks women in their sleep. Okay. Are we getting a little bit of a pattern happening here, guys? Are we understanding this pattern that's happening? In some traditions, an incubus demon will put its victim in a trance so that they are unable to move or call for help.
Oh.
Right.
That sort of happens in the vampire lore too. They mesmerise you.
So one study found that as many as 11% of people will have an experience in their lifetime that may be described similarly to an attack by an incubus demon, though the study characterised the phenomena as a form of sleep paralysis.
And that is also known as the old hag syndrome.
Yes.
Have I just stolen some of your information?
No, that's okay. That's okay. Because we are now looking at how to get rid of an incubus.
So this is in relation... You're missing page 1, are you?
No, we'll just get there. I just don't know where this one goes to, but that's okay. I had it all organised.
It was very organised.
Oh, here we go.
Jose! Hi! Good stuff like this never happens to me. Oh, Jose, you naughty boy!
You're waiting for the succubus, all right? That's at letter S. We'll get there. All right, so ways to prevent... and a Okay, so an incubus demon is not the same as a vampire, and Anne just mentioned that. And so I'm just going to go and just explore that a little bit further. And so vampires and incubus demons are similar enough that some people think that the legend of one has originated from the legend of the other, but it is not true. A vampire is essentially a zombie-like human, not a demonic entity. And a vampire is a dead human, and an incubus is a non-human. Right? So, 5 ways to prevent being a victim of an incubus demon. Here we go. What to do if you are attacked by an incubus demon.
Alex just sent us a message, but I can't see what it is. If I open it up, we drop out of the show. It was a reminder. Okay. It was a reminder of something.
All right.
Anyway, we'll get to it.
So these strategies come from the delightful tome called the Malleus Maleficarum. Now that's another a night read, a little nice night light read.
2 drunk monks wrote that.
So the Malleus Maleficarum, the translation of that is Hammer of the Witches, and that is a German treatise on witchcraft from the 16th century. So this is a really up-to-date version of how to do this. I'm sure that Sean...
That's true, Gavin. You might not want to get rid of it if you're having a good time.
I'm sure that Sean would have a different perspective on this. It would be really interesting, Sean, if you could sort of tell us what you think is a great way of getting rid of these demons. But let's see what they told us in the 1600s. So exorcism, getting a priest to perform an exorcism. No readings tonight, Michelle.
That's Thursday night, my love.
Is historically how someone would overcome being attacked by an incubus demon. Although they did have one Christian priest who did not agree, and he argued that incubus demons do not obey exorcists. They have no dread of exorcisms, show no reverence for holy things, at the approach of which they do not in the least run away, get overawed, or stop what they're doing. Okay, so regular confession. Attending confession with a priest regularly can prevent you from being a victim of any kind of spiritual warfare, including an incubus demon.
But this would only work if you were a Christian.
Yeah.
If you were a Buddhist or a witch or what's the ones that don't believe in any god at all?
Pagans.
Not pagans.
Atheists.
Atheists. That's not going to work for them because they don't believe it's going to work.
But if you followed these anyway, it was supposed to work.
Right, okay. Right? Oh, this is what they would do. Okay, right. I'll shut up.
So making the sign of the cross or saying a Hail Mary, bless yourself by moving your hand from the forehead. See, look, it even gives you the way to do it. Bless yourself by moving your hand from your forehead to the belly, to the heart on the right side, to the left side of your chest. Oh, it's in the name Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. That's it. Right, okay. You may also say a Hail Mary asking for intercession in the situation. So it
Bless actually the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. So
okay.
Make sure that they don't get implants in there.
But the easiest thing to do is pack up and move somewhere else. Because
apparently move into the house.
Apparently the incubus won't follow you. So it says, simply leave a place where an incubus demon has previously visited you. That could be helpful.
Now we went to the ancient Ram Inn where they supposedly had, was it incubus or a succubus? I think it was a succubus. But Zach called in the incubus. Anyway, let's
get
going.
They're having a party.
Yeah.
So excommunicating the incubus demon, similar to exorcism, but would be used in its place if the incubus demon was possessing the body of a human instead of possessing its own body. Right, so what we're actually doing is depossessing.
You're evicting them.
You're evicting them. Hence, from this moment forward, leave this body. You've all been dispossessed now.
There you go.
There you go. So, but if we look at this from a logical, scientific perspective, what people are now saying is that this is all part of sleep paralysis. So the so-called attack usually occurs during an episode of sleep paralysis, a condition that's even more common than the incubus phenomena, according to meta-analysis and some research that was done in the Netherlands.
Right. They researched the nether regions.
Yeah, they were talking about the top 11 spooky sleep disorders. So this is just only one. There are many, many more. So sleep paralysis
If
is a
it's sleep
result...
paralysis, how can you do the sign of the cross? Exactly. How's that going
Too
to work?
late for you. So it's a result of the dissociation of sleep phases. The condition happens when a person is falling asleep or waking up. During sleep paralysis, two aspects of REM sleep are rapid eye movement sleep.
Hearts if you've had sleep paralysis. I know I have.
Occur when a person is conscious. So during REM sleep, which is the period when a person typically dreams, the body's muscles are relaxed to a level of paralysis, presumably to prevent the sleeper from acting out his or her dreams.
Yeah.
So we've kind of all heard of that, and this is what the sleepwalkers have a tendency not to have conscious, or they can't control this part.
Mm-hmm.
So when sleep paralysis takes place, the person's mind wakes up, however the person is still dreaming and the body is still paralyzed.
Ah, yes.
So lying in bed in such a state of paralysis, the brain's threat-activated vigilance system kicks in and helps to create a compound hallucination of a creature sitting on the chest. What the afflicted person sees is a combination of their actual surroundings and a nightmare, which is projected onto the real world.
And the last movie they just watched.
The experience feels exceptionally real. So the researchers found that 1 in 10 people, or about 11% of the general population, will have an incubus phenomenon experience. But in certain groups, the odds of encountering an incubus are higher. So among psychiatric patients, amongst refugees, and interestingly enough, amongst students. And you know why? Because they don't sleep properly. They're usually up either partying or studying, so they don't have a proper sleep pattern. Yep, so the odds of the incubus phenomena are as high as 41%. So the analysis also found that people sleeping on their backs are more likely to experience the phenomena. Alcohol consumption and irregular sleeping patterns also make an incubus visit more probable. Though the frightening experience gets frequently dismissed as just a bad dream, it can lead to additional problems, which include anxiety, difficulty sleeping due to fear, and even delusional disorder and a mental illness akin to schizophrenia. So the researchers sort of speculate that there is a possible link between the incubus phenomena and sudden unexpected death syndrome, and a situation in which a healthy person inexplicably dies in his or her sleep. That's interesting.
Yeah. Now, I just had a little bit of a comment there from Sherry, who seems to think I'm mocking the afterlife, and I don't understand the seriousness of it. My job on this show is to be the funny one. I do try to make people laugh. If you listen to the opening quote of our show, we talk about how some people can get far too serious about everything in life, and we're trying to bring back some joy and light and laughter, and laugh in the face of fear rather than succumb to it. So that is my job, to bring laughter to people's lives. I'm sorry if that's offended you. But I'm going to keep doing what I do. And I have a huge respect for the afterlife. I have basically given my life over to the study of life after death and what happens. It just may be that my beliefs are different to yours, and that's okay. We're all allowed to have our own different beliefs. Can't be helped. That's what human nature is. None of us are ever going to agree. But now, all the best to you, my love. I hope that you keep enjoying what you're doing.
And we're all at different stages of learning, and that's the most important thing to understand, that we are all at different stages of learning, and that sometimes a little bit of fun and laughter helps diffuse what could be a really big bomb of fear.
Yep.
And fear is what really feeds all of the nastiness, not only in sort of paranormal communities, but also in what we believe is actually happening within the paranormal. So the more fearful you are of a situation, the more anxiety and stress you feed into a situation, the more out of hand it becomes. So what we are actually trying to do is to dispel this idea that everything is demonic and that everything comes from a nasty place.
Yeah.
In actual fact, in most cases, in 99.9% of cases that we have encountered, and that I'm saying we know everything,
Nope.
but in 99% of cases that we have encountered, the spirits, the energies, the entities, the formations are really benign and quite beautiful and quite lovely, and are very much interested in us and are wanting to hand over information and are wanting interaction. There is very, very little that is of the demonic sort, of the dark sort, and this is a real worry that people are trying to force feed people on the fact that it is all dark and horrible and make them fearful, so that they then sort of latch onto people like us and say, you've got to help me, you've got to help me, where we are all about empowering others and trying to get them to understand all levels of paranormal, so
and
that
beliefs.
they can understand that they are empowered to do something about it on their own.
I'm not even being very funny tonight. I'm being very quiet. I'm a little tired. We had a big weekend, as Michelle knows.
But anyway, I'm going to finish off because I'll be on for 45 minutes and Anne will then hang me. So,
and I've got an experiment for us to try if we get time. So that's going to be really cool. So you guys can engage in it too.
So the analysis, and we go back to the researchers, also found that the form of incubus figure and how people reacted to them can vary depending on a person's cultural background. Really important. And as Anne was stating before, you can't have a Christianized view on how to remove this type of entity if the person, for example, is a Muslim. And the next sort of quote I have here is one from that particular religious background. So it says here, patients from Muslim backgrounds often tell me that they see the incubus phenomena as a proof that they are being haunted by a jinn, an invisible spirit created by Allah out of smokeless fire.
That's a DJINN.
So sometimes the incubus may take on a much friendlier and entertaining form.
Maybe that's what I am.
Yeah, and this particular young girl here gave a quote to say that she had experienced an incubus phenomena, and how she saw it was 4 miniature penguins dining at a table on her chest. And she had been thrilled and amused rather than scared.
Wow.
Yeah? But just to finish it off, okay, we have undoubtedly incubi were once used to cover up cases of sexual assault or rape.
Yeah.
However, there may be a less sinister explanation for the worldwide popularity of these creatures. A sleeping disorder called sleep paralysis can mimic all the signs of an incubus encounter. Scientists estimate that 60% of people will experience sleep paralysis at least once in their life, or that just went through the roof. It was 11% in another one, but now we're up to 60%. And that could explain why incubus attacks were so common throughout history. Now, if you had this type of phenomena back in the Dark Ages, when no scientists were even thinking about exploring this, the way that it has been discussed throughout the ages would suit it very much. Yes, there is a demon that has come and that has sat on your chest and is trying to kill you, to not allow you to breathe. I've had 2 experiences in my life with this phenomena, and both experiences occurred when I was just about to go onto another level of psychic development, which I thought was quite interesting. Because
that's interesting.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting, especially the first one, because it was like, in my mind, it was like I was actually being stopped. If you go and do this, it will take you to a place where I don't want you. And so it was a big fight to actually get up that morning and to go and do this course that I was going to do.
Wow.
So that was quite
interesting. That's interesting, because you could have then in your mind gone, that's a sign that I shouldn't go and do it.
Exactly.
Or is it a sign that you're challenging yourself to face your fear?
Exactly. So yeah. So, but on that point, I hope that gives you a little bit of information about incubus, and that you actually go and research this stuff further. So again, as we are here doing this every Monday night. We can give you only little bits of information. We hope that what that allows you to do is to go, oh, I like that. I'm going to go and look
Find
up
out more.
a little bit more, find out more, because really what you're listening to is what we have chosen as bits of information that we think are relevant for you, but it may not necessarily be what you want to learn. So certainly go and find your own bits of information that suits you. But I'm going to go and hit the button and we're going to get on to part 2. Okay.
Oh, good. She's pressed the button. That's better. Cool. And we've got some people actually saying some experiences that they've had. Joanne is saying, I thought I was having an experience out at Wallachia last year. Then I woke up enough to realise it was the cat. Yeah, the cat that had to stay inside. We weren't allowed to let it out. I actually remember mine where I was face down in a pillow and I couldn't breathe. This was not an incubus, this was sleep paralysis. And I was face down and I couldn't get air. And I kept saying to myself, if I don't turn my head soon, I'm going to die. And I was having this overwhelming panic and fear. And I was probably only about 14 or so. And then I managed to sort of calm myself down and then just slowly force my head to the side, and then I finally got it to go like, it was just my brain.
It's very frightening. It's
terrifying.
A really frightening experience, and you can understand how people who continually have this experience can start to fear actually going to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to scroll up a bit. Hi, Emma. How are you, my sweet? Emma down in Tasmania. Do you know, guys, we are coming to Tasmania. We are going down there to run a psychic development workshop on the Friday night. I think it's the 18th? 18th of April. It's that weekend, whatever that weekend is in April. And then on the Saturday, we're doing a day of workshops on how to be a ghost hunter.
18th of April.
Oh, so the 17th for the psychic workshop. 18th is the paranormal investigation workshops, how to be a ghost hunter during the day. And then that night we go and do an actual paranormal investigation at the Hobart Penitentiary.
Hi, Andrew.
Right, the Tench, it's known as. So we're doing that down there. Please come and support the Tench. A good chunk of the money is going to the Tench to keep them doing what they're doing. It's a fantastic display they've got set up in there. It blows my mind what the convicts went through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that. And Miss Porter's house is this Saturday night, isn't it?
Miss Porter's house, we have about 4 spots. It's only a very small little site, so we keep it nice and intimate in that we only have about 8 people in total, but that also means that you kind of get really hands-on in that particular site. Very, very gentle atmosphere, so if you've never done any paranormal investigating before, it is a perfect place to start.
Beautiful energy.
The ladies that are there are absolutely wonderful in spirit, and it really does feel like you've walked into Grandma's home and you're exploring there on your own, and Grandma isn't home and you're looking through all of the drawers. So it's really one of those experiences that can take you right back to your childhood.
And we've got the Wallachia weekend coming up again. So
Yes.
that is, we're only doing it on the Saturday and Sunday this time. That's in July, isn't it? Yeah, there it is.
Yes, July 11th and 12th.
Yeah, so 11th and 12th, and that once again is a day of workshops, and we've got all sorts of really interesting topics like demons and the sound of paranormal and I can't remember, there's so many. And then we go to Parramatta Jail to investigate that night.
Oh wow, that's
and then we do more workshops
so
on the
exciting.
Sunday. And it's great, people get together, friendships are made, and it's like lifelong friendships are made.
One important thing before we start part 2. This Thursday we are having another tarathon, and we are really asking for everyone to band together from the paranormal community, because we are helping to raise some money for one of our own, for beautiful Jeanette from Sydney, who has been part of the paranormal community for years and years and years. And her partner Jeanette has leukemia, and they are really, as anyone knows who's been sick and been through this horrid journey, it not only takes your sanity away from you, but it takes every single penny that you have in trying to get your loved one better. And they would really love some financial assistance. So we're going to be putting a telethon on Thursday, and we're inviting all of you to come along. I'll be doing live readings, and we'll be giving naughty card readings. And what we're asking is, during that particular time, whether you could possibly donate some money to the GoFundMe appeal that is going to be on and front and center that night. So we want those 12,000 people that came last week back on.
If everyone gave $1, that'd be $12,000.
$12,000. Holy shit, wouldn't that be amazing?
You could blow it out of the ballpark. So come with your money. I think if I remember correctly, the minimum donation you can make is $2. That's not our call, that's just the way it's set up. But be as generous as you can. And if $2 is your generous point,
we'll fine.
Gratefully accept that.
That's absolutely
But we
fine.
need to get on to the second part of the show, so
Yes.
we're going to press the button.
And now, welcome back to the Frightfully Good podcast and vodcast, because we do this at the same time. And now we have the wonderful Anne from ozparatech, who's going to be talking about one of her favourite topics when it comes to paranormal spookiness, and that is ITC, instrumental TransCommunication.
Oh, there goes my talk. You just gave it away. Again. Yes, we're talking about ITC. Oh my God, I love ITC so much, because that's how I became a ghost hunter. I wanted to be a psychic or a medium. I thought I had no ability whatsoever. So I found out there were devices that you could use to talk to the other side. And that's what ITC is. It is, as it's coined by Ernest Jankowski in the 1970s.
Not that long ago.
I know, this is fairly new. It's a communication through any sort of electronic device, such as tape recorders and fax machines, television sets and computers, between spirits or other disincarnate entities, might be aliens, and the living. So it's just an electronic device that you can communicate. So communication means going back and forth, one to the other.
I actually met a lady on the weekend who believed that she had interactions with aliens. It was such an interesting talking to her.
I think I've had interactions with aliens. I told you that whole aeroplane story.
Yeah.
We'll save that for another one for those who haven't heard it. It goes on for a little bit, but...
Well, that'll be you, UFOs.
Yeah. And when we used to do seance work up at Maitland, we had an experience that was very bizarre, but that's another story. Anyway, so back before we had these electronic devices, the way that you would communicate with the dead was to sit in seance, and you'd have a psychic or a medium, and you would listen to whatever they told you in good faith, or you might do table tipping or the glass dowsing thing, or Ouija boards, all that sort of thing was the way you communicated with the other side. And that sort of relied on someone else doing it for you or having other people with you. So they had this guy who was out recording bird sounds. His name was Friedrich Jurgensen. I hope I've got that right. Friedrich Jurgensen in 1959. Now, he was a Swedish film producer, and he was out just recording bird noises.
Swedish film producer.
I know. I'd like to see his films. Anyway, he played it back, right, when he got home. He's played it back, and lo and behold, there was another voice on there. And as I was reading about this and researching it, I sort of realised what was going on. So when he played it back, he heard a male voice saying, "Bird voices in the night." Right? Bird voices in the night. Then he listened some more, and then he heard his mother's voice in German say, can't speak German, "Friedrich, you are being watched. Friedel, my little Friedel, can you hear me?" And that's when he discovered, his mother was dead of course, that somehow or other these spirits could imprint their voices onto his recordings. He was using a tape recording, not the electronic ones that we use now, the old-fashioned tape. And apparently that works better in this sort of thing, the old-fashioned tape.
Reel-to-reel, the reel-to-reel ones.
So, oops, literally dropped my bits there. I just thought about that, right? So he's heard this male voice going, bird voices in the night. Then he's heard his mother saying, there's someone watching you. So I'm thinking bird voices in the night was a real person. I think that there might have been someone in the bush there and they're saying, oh, he's recording bird voices in the night. And the mother, who has passed, has sent the message saying, someone's watching you.
Oh, yeah, I get you.
It dawned on me.
Right.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I think the first one might have been a living person.
Right.
So anyway, that's my little bit of investigative work for the evening. So anyway, once he'd done that, he spent 4 years exploring this type of recording and got hundreds of voices. So he had stumbled across what is known as EVP, electronic voice phenomena. That's voices that you can't hear with your own ears at the time, but will show up on tape. I remember my very first EVP, and once I realised what it was, I felt that cold water chill go through. And I was at a cemetery by myself up the top, and there was other ladies down the bottom, and I caught a male voice saying, "We're watching you." Now, there was no males there with us, and I was saying, if there's someone here who would like to talk to me, and then there's this male voice, "We're watching you." Oh, so cool. Right, there was somebody else who was into all of this work as well, and he found out about it through Friedrich Jürgensen, and his name is Dr. Konstantin, and I never say this right, Raudive is how I know to say it, but it's actually like Raudive or something like that. So he was actually quite a skeptic about the whole thing until he visited Friedrich to learn the methods that he was using to capture these voices. So he did an experiment of his own, and lo and behold, guess who spoke to him?
His mother.
His dead mother. The mothers are still telling their boys what to do, looking after them from the dead.
And so they should.
And her message was, Kostulit. This is your mother. And apparently that was his boyhood name, the name she used to call him. Like I know you get called Renya by your husband. I get called Dunny by Roman. That's because one day he went to call me darling and bunny, got it muddled and it came out Dunny, and it sort of stuck. So eventually he started working in this area as well, and he recorded tens of thousands of voices. I actually have a Raudive device somewhere that you plug into your digital recorder when you're recording, and it picks up on a certain frequency. So it's not just the normal. So you can hear your voice in the background, but it's very distorted. And the idea is that they manipulate that to be able to talk to you and answer
We
back.
need to pull that out, Anne.
I'll pull it out, all right. So one time, but he became so passionate about this, they actually put him into a sealed lab because they thought that he must be faking it somehow or other. So they've put him into a sealed lab with scientists watching him, and they put the recording device in front of him. He was not allowed to touch the recording device. He was only allowed to speak into the microphone. He spoke for 18 minutes, asking questions, and the scientists were absolutely sure he would have caught no voices because he wasn't able to manipulate it. When they played it back, there was over 200 voices heard.
Holy shitballs, 200?
We're really slacking, aren't we?
I know, we're lucky to get one.
Lucky to get one in a session.
200?
200. I would love to hear that recording. I would really love to hear it. I'll have to get onto YouTube, the Akashic Records, and see if there is a recording somewhere of that, because that would be fascinating. So often the voices were very soft and hardly there, and you'd have to turn the volume up very loudly to hear them. And that worries me because sometimes that distorts what's going on.
Yeah.
But if it was in a lab and it was sealed, that's really interesting.
Very.
So I actually have an example of these really light voices and then filtering out the white noise. We were at an orphanage site in Newcastle, and I'd laid out a blanket and I left my digital recorder on the blanket, and we went off and investigated. And when I came back, I was listening to it, and I decided to put a filter through Audacity onto the recording to take out the shh, because when it's just sitting there, it just records ambient noise, and you get that white noise sound in the background. Once I took that out, there was a little voice going, 1 rock, 2 rock. And I had actually noticed when we came back to the blanket after investigating that there was these little rocks placed in a row on our blanket.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
I mentioned it. You can actually hear me saying it on the recorder at the end of the session. Wow, look at those rocks. That's really weird. And then playing back the recording, here's this little voice. It broke my heart that they're still there. But anyway, this led to people working with all sorts of instrumental transcommunication devices. There were things like TVs, computers, phones, low frequency oscillators. They would try to do things in ultraviolet light, infrared light, and variable speed decks, all sorts of things. The old-fashioned reel-to-reel computers, old radios. Frank Subshin was very famous for his Frank's box, which then led to what we know today as the spirit boxes. There was also, in the mid-1980s, Klaus Schreiber received pictures on his television of dead people, including Albert Einstein. He got the pictures by focusing out. Just think about this. Focusing his camera onto the TV screen. Then he ran the cable out around the back. Hang on, I've got to get this right. He took the cable from the camera around the back into the TV. So what was going into the camera was then traveling around and going back into the TV up on the screen. So it was recording what the camera was seeing over the top of what the camera was seeing. You know when you get a mirror and you hold it up and you look at yourself and you've got repeated a mirror into a mirror?
Ah, right.
Now we're going to try this at our Maitland Jail sleepover. I'm going to set one up because we've got the gear to do it. And that's how they got these images. And I remember Attila Caldi doing this at one of the places we went to. It was fascinating. I've dropped my notes. Hang on. Oh,
That sounds good.
thank God I didn't break wind. So that was like the feedback loop is basically what it was. So around the same time, a couple in Luxembourg started getting amazing voice contacts through their radio. In 1994, not that long ago, Raudiv, who was now dead, apparently spoke to them directly through their radio. Now, I love the quote that came through, which I'm going to read to you. It can only work when the vibrations of those present are in complete harmony and when their aims and intentions are pure.
Wow.
And I have got goosebumps all over myself as I read that out aloud to you. So only when people are at the right vibrational energy, they're all on the same page, nobody's there for ego. Yeah, you too? I think he's with us. And that their aims and intentions are pure, then it will work. And I honestly think this is why we have such success in the seance parlour, because our intentions are to help people who are stuck in grief. Get a message across from the other side. But anyway, there's actually a whole sort of association devoted to electronic voice phenomena. That's Sarah Estep started that, the American Association of Electronic Voice Phenomena, in 1982. And there's a website, worlditc.org. So you can go up there and find lots of information about it. I remember another way that they were doing it with photography, but to me that's not communication from one to the other, that's taking photographs. And it was a bowl of water with coloured light on it, and you jiggle that, and then you take rapid photos into the water. And there were some very interesting photos that came up, and I'm pretty sure that's on that ITC website as well. Now, I've got something for you guys to try. Now, I must acknowledge where I've got most of my information from tonight. This is the Buckland's Book of Spirit Communication. Sorry that it's backwards. Buckland's Book of Spirit Communication. And they've got a little example here of how you can, at home, try your own ITC experiment. So first off, they said you should find a nice quiet space where you can't hear outside noise, and be in a very positive state of mind. Believe that you will make communication, that you will talk to that person, have utter faith. Now, set your equipment up and be comfortable. Find yourself a nice comfy chair. Feel relaxed, don't feel anxious about it. If it helps, you can burn some incense, you can light some candles to set your intentions to bring your loved ones forward. You can ask for particular loved ones to come in. Send out the message to them that you would like to speak to them. Could they please come forward and talk? That doesn't guarantee they will come through, but you've got more of a chance if you send the call out. Now, they suggested that you state your name, the date and the time. This is a very good suggestion. Speak softly. So you've got a recorder going. You can actually do it on your phone. If you look at your phones, there is something that says voice recorder or something. Yep. I use this. Yep. Oh, I've just lost it. I use this. It's just a digital recorder. And I try not to put it too near to me. I just put it a little bit away from me. They said speak softly, because when you're playing it back, you're going to be listening for the background noise. So you've got to turn it up quite loud. And if you're speaking loudly, it wrecks your eardrums. I'm going deaf. I'm seriously going deaf, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
So, speak softly. And then ask questions if you want to, but it's really important to leave a gap to give them the chance to be able to speak back to you. Give them a chance to gather their energy. Don't be surprised if from the questions may be out of sequence, because it may take them 3 questions worth to get their energy together to answer the first question. That might happen as well. If you don't want to ask questions, just after you've stated your name and the day and the time, just sit quietly. You've set the intention out that you want someone to come and talk to you. Just sit quietly and allow it to run. I'd give it at least 20 minutes, sitting quietly. We like to do short burst ones where we'll ask 5 questions and then play it back to see if we've caught anything. That's because when we're out investigating live, we are trying to see if we're getting some sort of response, if they're enjoying our questions, and then we can keep pursuing that line of questioning should it work. Yeah, so then you have to, of course, play it back, use headphones. Turn your volume up, don't listen to it just like that. It's too hard, it's very delicate sound sometimes. Play it back listening with your headphones and see if you've caught anything. Now, I would keep a notebook and a pen next to you and just jot down the time, like it might be 3 minutes, 53 seconds. Heard a voice. Make a little journal, see if you can recognise what they're saying. And then once you do that, if you want to go further and use a program like Audacity to download the things and do clips. If you do send clips to people, make sure there's a good decent 3 to 5 seconds before the voice and the same at the end. Don't just send a 2-second clip of whatever the voice is, because our ears can't adjust to be able to hear what is being said in that amount of time. Your ears need to adjust to get to that. Yeah, so now the other sort of things that they use are the spirit boxes. Now, I've got some here. I've left my S box over there. Never mind. That's all right. We're going to use this one. Okay. Do we have time?
Yes.
We're going to do a live spirit box session. So this is one of the spirit sweeps. I'm going to turn it on. We sell these at ozparatech. Christy's going to put a link up. Then we have the SB7 as a smaller version and the SB11 is the bigger one. Oops, there we go. So you can hear that. Yes. So there's voices that come through. Now, yes, it may be radio. We get so many people going, oh, it's just radio sweep. Yes. The idea is the spirits are manipulating that white noise to be able to talk to us, or they're choosing words from the radio frequencies to talk to us and hopefully answer intelligently. Now, the problem being is most of the time when you do this, you've got, oh, sorry, turning that side down. Forgot what I was going to say. Mental blank.
When you do this?
Yes, when you do this, that's a very good thing. Anyway, we'll just keep moving forward. So I've got it sweeping around about 4 stations per second. So it's like 101.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 in 1 second. So the likelihood of getting a full sentence or anything that makes sense is not likely to happen. I'm going to be putting Renata on headphones. Now, this is based on the Estes experiment. And she's going to be listening to this. I'm just going to fix that. She's going to love listening to that. Alright, I'll pop that on. So I'm going to plug her headphones in. Plug her in. So, I'm now going to ask questions. And we're going to hopefully... Oh, wow, there's a lot of comments on there. Hopefully she's not going to be able to hear my questions. If we start to get intelligent responses, it becomes really interesting because how did she know to answer that way if she can't hear me? All right, so I'm going to switch her on. I think it's on. Yeah, maybe it's a bit loud. I think I just burst a eardrums. All right, so let's get going. Renata, if you can hear me now, say $1 and I'll give you $10. She can't hear me. Can you hear me speaking? I'm talking to the spirit world now. I invite you to come forward and speak with us.
Something's coming through.
Excellent.
Just me?
All right, who am I speaking to this evening?
Philip.
Hi, Philip. It's nice to meet you.
Nerd. I can hear you.
Excellent. Philip, how old are you?
Philip.
Philip, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Pennies from heaven.
Oh. Okay. Philip, do we know you from Maitland Jail?
Yes.
Philip comes through all the time.
Seth.
Philip.
I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Can you...
I am impressed.
I'm impressed too. You're very good at talking through this device.
Quickly.
All right. So just to prove this is Philip.
Come to me.
What do you think of women, Philip?
You're being rude.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I've already got in trouble for that tonight.
Sit down.
Philip, can you tell me what area we're in of
It
New
means
South
a lot
Wales?
to me.
Just
Yes, it does.
trying to get some...
Here. Speak.
Some definitive proof that we're speaking to an entity. Philip, I need you to tell me where we are in New South Wales. Can you tell me?
There are many of us here.
All right.
We can see you.
What do I look like? What do I look like to you? How does the human form look in the spirit world?
Allow it. I've asked you a question.
Okay.
More.
All right. I've asked a question as well. Could you tell me what we look like?
Don't judge me.
I'm not judging anyone.
Breathe deeply. Visitors. We have visitors.
Okay. How many are here in the room with us? How many are here waiting to speak?
Get out of here.
No, this is my house.
Play it again.
I would like to know how many from the spirit world are here wanting to speak with us this evening.
We will come. Wait.
Yeah. What do we need to do?
We are here for you.
What do we as human beings need to concentrate on doing to be better?
One of us.
What do we
I
need?
love you.
That's very, very, very lovely. Who is saying that? Who is saying that they love you?
Anytime you want to.
I'm getting a little worried there. I do have a husband.
Frankly, I don't believe. Emma,
Do we have
get in front of it.
Emma, do we have you watching at the moment? Just wondering.
Right here.
Oh, okay, so you are right here, Emma. Emma, do you want to speak to someone who's
It's a
watching?
moment.
Do you want to speak to someone who is watching?
Some heavy sighing is happening right now.
Would you like to speak to someone who is watching now?
I need to think about that one.
Fair enough.
Bless you.
Well, bless you too. Are you at peace?
Stay open. Are you okay?
Yep, I'm doing pretty good.
We need you.
Oh, thank you. What can I do to assist you? Thanks, Karen.
It's a heavy burden. Hello?
We are happy to help you if you can give us some sort of
I'm
direction.
in here.
Give us some sort of direction on how we can assist you. How can we be of service to you?
We miss you. Go ahead. I'm here for you.
Thank you. And we
One more time.
want to be of service to the spirit world as
Yes.
well. So how can we help you?
Good morning.
Good morning. It's nighttime here. We're going to have to finish up this session. Is there anything you would
Earth.
anything you would like to say to us before we finish?
Take a walk.
Yeah, I do need to exercise. You're not wrong.
See. Peace.
Peace to you too, my friend.
Be with me.
And with you. We're going to finish that now.
I expect you to do better.
I have been told. That was awesome.
Wow, holy shit.
I got told several times. Oh my God.
So did any of that make sense?
Yes,
I'll listen to it
a
later.
lot of it. I tried to do some questions where I got them to confirm that it was an intelligent entity speaking to us.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like they had their own agenda and they weren't going to answer anything I was asking. But if I just had a conversation, then it worked.
Okay.
But if I said, can you please tell us what part of New South Wales we're in, they're not interested. Not interested at all.
It was a really interesting mix from my point of view. I could hear nothing of what you were saying. So I couldn't be front loaded in trying to, get responses out of that might fit. But there was one moment where I had this really bizarre voice come through that said Earth.
Yes.
That was really completely different. That was just this, I don't know, it was this boom.
Yeah.
And he just said Earth. And it just, the whole tone of it changed, where it was like this kind of warning thing about, I don't know, that's me then putting my own, I was just listening very carefully to what happened.
No, it was at the very end
after.
because
Yes.
I had asked a question before that, what can we as humans do to improve ourselves, and that came in probably about 30 seconds down the track after that question. I don't know if I'm trying to make that fit, but I had also said at that stage, we are going to have to finish this. Is there anything you want to finish up the conversation with or anything like that? But have a listen back to it and see what you think.
Yeah.
One of the other important ITC devices I forgot was the Ovilus. That is one that reads various conditions like humidity, temperature, EMF, and uses a mathematical equation to come up with a number, and that number is assigned to a word. It speaks the word, and hopefully it's direct communication. I have had some very freaky experiences with this one, and I've also had a lot of rubbish as well. It is not a random word generator, so don't think it is. These can only be bought from Digital Dowsing in America, from Bill Chappell's store. Now, they're all a bit worried about you because they said you look very drained. Are you okay? You just look like shit, Renata.
I've done, yesterday I got to a point where I think I need to switch off from all of this psychic stuff, because I've been reading since Wednesday. So I've been doing readings Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I've had how many?
You're famous now.
We've had a 4-hour investigation at Maitland Jail, and we did
on Friday night.
We did an intensive at Prince Henry Hospital,
which meant we had to drive to Sydney and back from Sydney.
And that kind of means there's a lot of switching on to be able to sort of get into people's zones. And I've got to say that people that have been coming in have been really deeply intense. It's not been fluffy, and I mean, for me that's really great. That's where I'm up to.
You're exactly what they need.
It's so intense that you have to really sit there and hold space and really listen to what people are saying to you, because it is just such an enormous responsibility to answer properly, and to get the proper type of information from the cards for the people, and not just fluff it and tell them.
Don't worry, I'll make her a cuppa.
Just take a crystal. Just get a crystal and it'll all be fine. Just take this
waft
crystal.
it in a certain area.
Just blow some sage around and it'll all be fine. These are critical moments in people's lives where they can really just make enormous, horrendous choices if they are not given some clarity, and that sometimes is the job that I have to take on. So sometimes, yes, I'm just a little bit stretched, but it's fine. It's what I've chosen to do. So
we are in service. Anyway, that ends the show for tonight.
Yes, so thank you so very, very much. We are just going to push the plug on our podcast. So thank you everyone for listening. We hope you've enjoyed the little experiment that we have done, and we will see you next week. Bye.
And podcast finished. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a bit of fun to do a live spirit box session. I was going to have the Ovilus sitting there running as well and hopefully speaking out words to us, but got carried away with everything else and forgot. But that brings us to the end of the show. So thank you so much for watching. If you could share this around to show other people. I'd also like to take a moment to thank all of our beautiful Patreon supporters who give us that bit of extra money to help us go and see different locations and take you guys to live events. And particularly at the moment, you guys have funded us to go to the Conjuring House in America for a private lockdown. Just the two of us, with maybe a couple of very special friends from America. And maybe they've said they want to come and join us, and I'm going, hell yeah. So it's because of you guys we had the extra cash to be able to hire the Conjuring House to do that investigation, and we will be doing live feeds all the time, so you guys get to join in as well. Anything else we need to say?
No, other than, again, please come back on Thursday to support the Tarathon.
Yes.
And raise some money for the beautiful Jeanette.
I think Jenny,
who unfortunately is in the process of leukemia treatment.
Battling. She is battling. We need to bring her some joy and take away one more anxiety for her.
Yes. Hopefully we might be able to get alive with her.
Oh, that would be cool.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be lovely.
So we hope so. We'll see what we can do. We'll see if she's well enough to do a little bit of a live cross, bring her in and we'll be doing that from 8:30 till 9:30. We're going to go for an hour. So not only will you get some free readings, but we're here to promote
Support
and
our
help
community.
and support. Yep.
Yeah. So we love you all. We'll see you on the dark side, and we'll see you Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.